Welcome.
Broadcasting live from the Jersey Shore, it's Coach Kev on the Damage 365 Radio Network.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to another episode here of the Indy Super Show on the Damage 365 Radio Network. I'm Coach Kev, leading you the way today. We'll be joined shortly after our first and only commercial break by independent star Riley Shepard. We'll see what Riley's been doing during this coronavirus pandemic, what she's been doing to keep herself busy and safe during quarantine, and what the future looks like for Riley Shepard as she briefly came back after a severe leg injury, only to have her come back cut short, I should add, because of this pandemic. So let's take that commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll be joined by Riley Shepard.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
This is the War Machine Rhino, the last ever ECW World Heavyweight Champion, and you're listening to Damage 365 Radio. Keep listening or you'll get gored in half.
Esposito's Pizza and Pasta. Check us out at one of our fine locations, 930 Route 34 in Matawan, New Jersey, or 233 East Main Street in Manasquan, New Jersey. From pizza and salads to pasta and buffalo wings, we have something to suit every member of your family. Whether you're seeking to take out, delivery, or you just want to dine in, let us do the dishes, as we will be more than happy to take care of your next meal. Our courteous and friendly restaurant staff is here to meet and exceed all your expectations. We promise an enjoyable experience each and every time we serve you. Try our award-winning sesame crust pizza, our recent winner at the Las Vegas Pizza Open. Visit us online at sesameseedpizza.com for store hours, menus, and phone numbers to one of our great locations. Esposito's Pizza and Pasta, so close to eating at Mom's, but without all the yelling.
Hey, this is Bruce Pritchard, and you are listening to Damage 365 Radio. But I need you to know something. Just because I love you doesn't mean I like you.
Hey, wrestling promoters and booking agents, you know where you can get inexpensive prints of your hired talent? Right here at Fast Copy Printing Center, located in the Pearl of the Bayshore. That's right, whether you need 8x10s, 11x14s, posters, long format, or even weatherproof signs, we can do it all. We also can create promotional items for your business, such as pens, business cards, drink koozies, banners, or just a coffee mug. Stop on down to Fast Copy Printing Center, 81 Broad Street in Keyport, New Jersey, or call us at 732-739-4646. No job is too big and satisfaction is guaranteed. Tell them Damage 365 sent you.
This is Lanny Poffo, formerly the genius full of glory and renown. You are listening to Damage 365 Radio.
The Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore, selling wrestling memorabilia from all around the world, including WWE, Impact, ROH, Japan, Mexico, and the Indies. They sell action figures, lucha masks, t-shirts, trading cards, magazines, DVDs, autographs, collectibles, vintage video games, and more. Stop in to get tickets for local independent wrestling such as UWA Elite, CZW, and Synergy Wrestling. Located indoors at the world-famous Englishtown Flea Market, Blue Building, which is 45 through 48, 90 Wilson Avenue in Manalapan Township, New Jersey. Open every Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. all year round. Visit them at Facebook at facebook.com/Funkenstein Inc. New Jersey's largest wrestling store is the Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore. Tell them Damage 365 sent ya.
Attention everyone, this is Allie, and you're listening to Damage 365 Radio.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
And welcome back, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to listen to our sponsors during our commercial break. And remember to support your local mom and pop shops, because after this pandemic is over, we still want them to be there for us. And at this time, we'd like to welcome in one of my favorite indie stars, especially in the New York, New Jersey area. Very colorful character with an awesome gimmick, and very talented in the ring. Riley Shepard, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, and thank you for calling me one of your favorites. That is very hard to beat, considering the tri-state area indie scene, especially.
Yeah, it's very flooded with people and lots of talent, but that's a good thing. You know, it's not a dried out area. It's still producing some good names. A lot of it that has made it to, you know, companies like Impact and NXT and even WWE, and a couple sprinkled in over there in the NWA and ROH. So it's a good area for independent wrestling. Some would say in Jersey probably too much, because there's just like 1,000,001 companies in the New Jersey area. But if you see something you like, you keep booking it. And I'm always chasing you, trying to get you bookings in the New York, New Jersey area.
Yes, I love being in the area in New York, New Jersey. New Jersey's my home, but New York has definitely become one of my home, with like Warriors of Wrestling in New York, Championship Wrestling. There's a ton of Embry combination, which is now in Jersey, which makes me happy. But yeah, I'm always up for being back at Warriors of Wrestling. So hopefully when this all is over, I can be back there, bells and whistles.
Yeah, I was saying during my intro monologue, I was like, this is probably a very frustrating time for you. Not only, you know, the pandemic and staying home, quarantine, and things like that. I mean, we'll get more into what you've been doing during this time, because for all I know, you're an essential worker. I have no idea. But you were just coming back from a major injury, and
yes,
you literally just got back in the ring, and poof, it's like somebody just shut the door in your face.
Yeah, it was a little over a month I got back in the ring for, and then everything shut down again. But the silver lining is I'm not the only one who's sitting on the sidelines. We're all kind of twiddling our thumbs, so hopefully we're all getting what we can in the downtime to get get better and get ready for when they say, hey, all clear, and all of us can come back and take the scene by storm.
Yeah, I'm hoping so as well. I mean, with the bookings that we do, we've kind of been on hold. We did LA in January, we did big event in March, and everything else has gotten canceled since. We've had a couple of bookings, including I had a booking with Rosemary that was scheduled for April. That got postponed till June, and then now that's postponed again since New Jersey has pushed the whatever you call it, the quarantine, social distancing regulations to mid-June for now. I mean, who knows? I mean, they could extend it again, and we pretty much, if that's the case, we're just going to lose our entire summer, which in New Jersey is a pretty hard thing to live with if you don't have your summer, because it's like,
the beach.
Yeah, the beach, the boardwalk, the parks. I live down the block from the beach, and it's like, and I'm not even allowed near it. I can smell it, but I can't go near it.
Oh, goodness. Well, I know they're slowly trying to open state parks, and we'll see if people behave, whether it can slowly start to reopen things. I'm kind of taking everything week by week and month by month instead of being like, we're going to lose our whole summer. I think I learned when I had my ACL surgery that you have to take it literally one step at a time. Otherwise, you're going to start spiraling and get into a negative headspace of, like, I'm not where I want to be. It's the same thing with it.
Yeah.
We're not where we want to be right now currently, but we're not sure in a month or so maybe we could be.
But at least you had,
so take it month by month.
you had physical therapy and rehab to keep the hopes alive. Some of us sitting at home haven't worked since March. Like, they're gonna be like, all right, go back to work, and it's gonna be like shell shocked. Be like, oh my god, I got to get up early.
Yes, that's for sure. I think a lot of people may get shell shock getting back into the ring, but the good thing about what I went through with my ACL, I know what I need to do in the meantime. I may not be able to train in the ring right now, but I'm still working out. I still have a personal trainer, so I'm still trying to do things so that when I get back, there's not as much rest to the ring, and hopefully everyone else is doing the same.
And your physical therapy just doesn't end because you got back in the ring. I mean, you're still doing some stuff after the fact, correct?
Yes, it's definitely not as... I do yoga. I don't go see a physical therapist, which is probably really tough to do right now anyway. But I do a lot of yoga, which entails stretching, because a lot of the thing coming back from my ACL injury, the biggest thing was getting mobility back. And I found that yoga and stretching helped the whole time with that. So I do yoga. It's called Romwood. That helps a lot. And I add that onto my regular personal training or workouts on top of it, so that I can incorporate all of it together and we don't have any wonkiness in the knee. Yeah,
definitely. I'm not expecting 5-star wrestling shows, right out of the gate. I think there's going to be some ring rust, and I think there's going to be just some familiarity rust. Just even if you worked with people in the past, just it's going to feel like you haven't seen them in forever at this point.
I know. I miss so many people. I miss everyone who you've gotten, especially in the tri-state area, because you get used to seeing some familiar faces. You tend to do kind of the same route with some people. So you're seeing them at least once or twice a month, and now it's like, my family's gone.
Yeah.
Where they go? And so I'm so excited when we do finally get back to see my family again. And not just wrestlers, fans too, like familiar people you see in the crowd. I can't wait to see everyone's face.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not going to be the greatest time for a promoter if you think about it, because their first show they're going to have, say like 20 people that are on the card, whatever various matches or whatever's going on, and along with staff and people like that, and it's going to be like a reunion. It's like a high school reunion where everybody's just going to be standing around talking and chatting and having a good time. The promoter's going to be sitting there going, "Come on, people, get ready."
It may be half and half. We're definitely going to want to hang out with each other a little bit, but I know we're all chomping at the bit to wrestle too, so that's still gonna be there. I'm entirely sure that will be there.
That might be one of those nights where after the show, everybody just agrees, you know what, after the show, we're all going to go out to so-and-so diner, and we're just going to live it up for the one night to celebrate being back to normal.
Right. To heck with our adult lives outside of wrestling. We're all gonna have a family dinner, family reunion dinner.
Right.
I'm looking forward to a ton of those when we come back.
Yeah, who cares about? I have to be at work at 4 a.m. on Sunday. Who cares? This is more important.
Exactly.
So what have you been doing besides yoga? What have you been doing during this pandemic to keep yourself busy and to keep yourself safe?
So I am not an essential worker right now. I left my job at the end of January, my full-time job as a clerk, to wrestle because I had just come back from injury, and I was like, there's no time like the present. I need to commit fully, and I was going to pick up a part-time job after a few months of getting back into wrestling. Obviously, that plan halted a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little. So right now, I'm trying to keep on track with my nutrition and working out. My personal trainer, who I work out with twice a week, at her apartment, so it's not around anyone else. We're still social distancing. We're like quarantined together, which is great to be quarantined with a personal trainer. And I do yoga, but I've been literally just trying to find projects to keep me busy. I'm trying to start a vlog, which I'm like a little nervous about putting content out with that because I've never done anything with that. But no time like the present to try. And then I still play video games and I still read every night. So that's kind of what I've been doing to stay busy.
I mean, I would have figured that you played video games of some sort. I mean, your gimmick, your persona in wrestling is literally video game-ish, I guess you could say, a little bit.
Oh, it definitely has a part from video games. It's a lot of different geekiness. A lot of it comes from sci-fi reading or movies or video games and live-action role-playing. So all of that kind of incorporated to make me.
I personally, I like it. Like I've seen I think it was Aja Pereira. She used to kind of do this Zelda type persona early in her career, and she even had like the music from the video game and things like that. But like you've taken it kind of like a big level ahead, not to use like video game cliche. You took it to the next level.
I leveled up, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're
exactly.
Like you're so like you've committed to the gimmick right down to the hair color matching your gear.
Yes. Well, the purple hair was more of a personal choice, I guess. I, for majority of my life, wore some sort of a uniform because I was involved in law enforcement, and I've always wanted to dye my hair purple.
And you couldn't.
So when I left policing to start wrestling training back in 2016, I went, you know what? Now's the time. And so I dyed my hair purple, and then everything else, I knew who I was and what I wanted to bring to the table in the ring. And so the purple hair didn't have much to do with it. It was more of a personal, I want purple hair.
Well, maybe you just accessorized the rest of your gear to match your head. I mean, it doesn't matter what order you did it, but you still match.
Well, you got to do that. I mean, my wardrobe, once I got purple, blue, teal hair, that's my wardrobe plus some black and white. It's got to match.
Absolutely. And it's funny because it's like always like the when I used to make back in the day like fantasy baseball teams, and when we make like our own logos, I was very similar. I always found like purple, the teal, like the hunter green, even sometimes like a little mixed in gold, metallic gold. They were very regal colors, and they always popped.
Oh, regal.
Yeah, I mean you always saw. If you ever watch these TV shows with the kings and the queens, there's always some sort of purplish and blue and teals like mixed into whatever they're wearing. Go with the gold crown. They just pop and they're flashy and it looks nice and come on, I'm basically saying you look nice in the ring. Would you just come on, follow up here?
No, I appreciate that. No, Oh gosh, do I appreciate that. But it's funny because I never really thought about that as someone who I'm a geek about Renaissance fairs. I love Renaissance fairs, but I never put myself in the same vein as Regal. I'm definitely more of a down to the ground fighter than Regal, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with purple being
No,
here.
I always like the colors. I love Renaissance fairs myself. I'm a fan of medieval times and things like that. At the restaurant, like going there and eating with my hands. I love that. I just pray that the falcon doesn't shit on me when it flies by. But I mean, I have a lot of fun doing that stuff. But I'm someone that analyzes things. I analyze landscapes and I analyze colors and backgrounds and things like that. And I always found it amazing. Even the movies Lord of the Rings, just the color schemes that they use to kind of categorize certain people, in certain classes. Yeah. It wasn't they're really clean, so they're upper class, and they're really dirty, so they're low. It didn't matter. You could have middle class or somebody on the front line, but they're what they were wearing was just so nice. The logos of the whoever they were representing or the city that they were representing, the color schemes. I don't know. I guess that's the geek in me that looks at that kind of stuff.
No, I completely get it, and it feeds into the whole atmosphere is what it is. So I completely understand that, and it brings it all alive. So it's great to hear that my personal choices added to the atmosphere of who I am in the ring.
No, I mean, look, you and I have had multiple conversations, trying to get you booked and do things, and even local conventions and stuff like that. And I don't want to say I haunt, but I wouldn't haunt somebody to do this stuff if I didn't believe in them. And I absolutely, believe in what you do and what you are in the ring. And, if I was to start a company, it's like a women's division or things like that, and I have to start building around a core of people, you would be in that core.
Oh my goodness, that means so much to me. Thank you. That is definitely... I can't even talk. I appreciate that so much.
It's okay.
That means so much to me for someone to say something like that, for sure.
Yeah, and then most people know, I've booked for Women's of Warriors, and I book promotions and for other companies, and I book people for conventions and signings and fan fests and things like that. So, I've been around a lot of female workers since 2012 when I started doing this. And, we started doing the radio show in 2012, and we've had over 100 guests on this show, and predominantly female talent, because it's usually female talent that we interview, get the fans to know about them, and then we introduce them in person at shows. We did that with Thunder Rosa all the way back in 2012. She was on the West Coast. She never was on this side of the United States. And, we introduced her to our fan base, and people started watching her on YouTube and asking us to bring her. And then we did. And it took off from there. I mean, I'm not patting myself on the back. She tells me all the time that, she doesn't know where she would be. Right now she's the NWA World Women's Champion. And she said she wouldn't even know where she would be if I didn't take that chance and bring her here.
It means so much to someone, especially when they're coming up. I don't know when you met Thunder Rosa, if it was along the same vein as me, but I'm so new in wrestling that to have people to believe in you and to take a chance on you means the world to us. It means the world to me, I can say personally, and I've gotten very lucky that I've had people like you and Taint Hammer from Rogue, or Johnny Patches from NYCW, or even AJ Pan, who I like to jokingly say he's a jerk. But they've taken chances. They've not only taken chances, but pushed to give us more opportunities than just, hey, come in for a show. They see something in you, and have people like you guys see something in me means the world to me.
I'm as guilty as the next person, where I go to shows and I don't pay attention, either because I have talent there and I'm just trying to cover my table and take care of things, and between pre-show and intermission, trying to get myself ready for the next thing, or even packing up because we're leaving after intermission, whatever the case may be. But for some reason, and I guess it's, it's your colorful character, in the ring, and that caught my eye. And then once it caught my eye, then I just started paying attention to your in-ring work. And I've told people like numerous times, whether it was the guys from Synergy Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Magic, Titan, Championship Wrestling, I've told all of them, I'm like, you have to bring this girl in. I'm like, you brighten up the room. You walk in, you're like, whoa, look at this girl, like amazing, wielding a freaking sword, wearing these awesome colors, giving you a little bow to people. Like, everything about it is just so cool. The music, everything. And I, no disrespect, you're very easy on the eyes as well. So there you go. So,
no, I appreciate that.
So, and I was like, and she can work her ass off. I'm like, you guys got to take a look at her. You got to get her in here. And I think slowly, I mean, it didn't help that you got hurt. I mean, not your fault. I mean, shit happens, but I think little by little, people are just starting to recognize that, you're a talent in this area and people need to start utilizing you.
I'm hoping once we come back that comes more to the forefront. That's the thing that it's always been a fear, and I've talked to other people who've gotten injured, is they hate to lose momentum.
Right.
And being like an ACL injury, it's not a couple months. I was out for almost an entire year. So losing that momentum is scary, but having people who will go to bat for you where okay, I'm coming back, I have something to work towards and something to work for, that has always kept me going, and that definitely kept my drive going when I was rehabbing, when I was coming back during those 10 months, to know I have homes to come back to. And so, yeah, I thank you so much for that, because that means a whole heck of a lot. And I hope when we come back after this pandemic that momentum picks up again, because people like you have been in my corner. I'm very lucky for that. And
look, I don't want to say I appreciate you as a worker. I appreciate you as a person. If anybody has the opportunity to approach you at a show, to go to the table, to visit you, buy gimmick and take pictures with you, you're very approachable. You talk to everybody.
Despite the sword.
Yeah, despite the sword, but I mean, you talk to everybody, that one little girl that comes over to you, because she likes your outfit. She might not know anything about wrestling, but she likes your outfit, and you might have won that night, and she's so happy, and then she walks up to you, and you're so approachable, and you just made that girl smile. She got to take a picture with you. I mean, that can ultimately have an effect on what that girl wants to do in her future.
Oh my God, that's crazy to think that, and it's not something that we, I think, as wrestlers really realize. There's like moments that we hold dear in our heart, but we don't realize the effect we have on other people until someone like you says that to me. Or I've had like a father come up and been like, hey, my daughter has seen you and she's now starting to train, and I've actually had this conversation. I think she's 15. She sees you as a role model, and it's just moments like that we don't even realize until someone tells us, and it's crazy. And getting into wrestling, you don't even realize that until someone tells you that. It's so crazy and so amazing, truly and utterly amazing.
And that's pretty much the way it is with all sports. I mean, I grew up, I wrestled in high school, I played hockey, I played baseball for over 30 years. Everybody has the aspirations of like, oh, I'm going to be professional at this. I'm going to be a major leaguer. I'm going to be this. At a young age, I knew the percentages of, being a professional at anything I did was slim to none. So I played it because I enjoyed it. It was my love of the game that kept me going. But at the same time, I always knew, whether I was playing, on a high school field, if I was playing on a recreational field or a parks department field, I always knew at some point someone was going to be watching. So kind of like compose yourself the most adult way possible. So you don't negatively affect. I wish I would have took that into effect when I started coaching, because that went right out the window when I started coaching. So I really hope nobody ever saw my arguments with umpires.
Oh goodness. I can imagine, actually. I can imagine.
Yeah. People have seen and heard my rants, whether on social media or even on the radio. So, picture a umpire blowing a call that basically changed the outcome of a game. Yeah, I really hope nobody ever saw that and ever said, you know what, I was going to play baseball, but that guy ruined it for me.
I'm sure they realize that you're just passionate.
Yeah, I hope so. I think some of the other teams had other words for it, but we don't repeat that. This is this isn't a family show, but we don't want to get into that. But yeah,
it's okay. No, I completely understand, because I have some attributes that my dad didn't make up. My dad uses a nice word instead of the word that it actually is, and they did a background check for when I became a police officer, and they asked you one word to describe the person, and my dad said tenacity. I'm like, oh, that's a nice way of saying stubborn.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. It's a nice way to say passionate. You know?
Yeah, no, it's good to be passionate about the things that you do. It just shows you're dedicated. It shows your love for it. Ultimately, at the end, it's hopefully what drives you to be the best at it. So that separates the good, the bad, and then the in between. The in between do just enough, and the ones who don't care fall very short and at the bottom. So, you're coming back from injury. So now hopefully this pandemic is ending. So you're at the point now where you felt like you might have proved some stuff to people, but then you got hurt. But then you're like, look, everybody, I'm coming back full force. You were putting out these posts. You were showing videos. You were even doing some ringside broadcasting at some shows I saw, keeping yourself involved and keeping yourself, even like people don't understand, even sitting at a ringside doing play-by-play, educate yourself, because you're watching, studying someone else's match. So you're finding the faults, you're finding the great things, you're picking up pointers. In your mind, you're playing it out. What would you do differently to make it turn out this way? So the wheels are always turning. So where you might not have been in the ring, your mind was in the ring still.
Yep. My mind and my heart was in the ring.
Right.
For sure.
Yep. And your behind and your leg were behind a table. So it's okay. Yes. But it's okay.
Safe until I could be cleared.
Right. But there was no problem. No problem with that. I mean, you did the right thing. You didn't come back too soon. You didn't rush yourself where you're like, I got to get back. And then you wound up getting hurt and setting yourself back up another year. So you did the right thing. So now you're at the point where, all right, this pandemic freaking thing needs to end, because I have a lot to prove to people that, not only am I as good as I was before I got hurt, but I'm going to be better.
And I don't think that, even to your point, my ACL did that and put that all in hindsight. But I think there's a part of me that, and it may come out weird, will never feel like I'm good enough. That I always have to keep learning, and I always have to keep proving that I am an amazing wrestler, not just an amazing women's wrestler, just an amazing wrestler. Like, I don't, these gender stereotypes, these gender labels, it's not something that I want a part of. Mm-hmm. I just want to be fan-freaking-tastic wrestler. And I say that all the time. And with or without my injury, I don't think that would have changed. Maybe it put a little more fire of being forced away from the ring for 10 months. But at the end of the day, I never want to disappoint anyone. I do not want a little kid to come in, a little girl, a little boy to come in and come watch my match and be like, that was okay. No, I want them to come and have the best time possible at a wrestling show, and I want to be a part of that experience.
No, that's called being humble. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can be overly confident with yourself and not show that. You can show a humble side of you. I use like a perfect example, I think you've worked with him in the past, Darius Carter. Darius Carter is a very talented guy in the ring who's very experienced in kind of the UK style. And he was very impressive when I brought Saraya Knight in for a seminar. And she was very impressed with him. And he's got his persona in the ring, the way he is with his gimmick and things like that. But you speak to him on the side, one-on-one, away from it all. He's a very humble guy, and he's always willing to learn. And doesn't matter what he does in the ring or says in the ring, outside the ring, like, he's a different person. And people have to, like, understand, every wrestler is trying to do the best that they can and never feel that they're good enough. And I always feel that the ones who feel they're great and they're awesome and they tell everybody all about it are usually the ones that have the most faults.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but my very first match back was against Darius.
Well, there you go. I did not. I did see you. Your I guess your comeback when you rolled in the ring to save somebody. I did see that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was at Rogue. But my very first match back was at Free Combination Wrestling for the heavyweight championship against Darius Carter.
Yeah, I mean he's
and it was a war. It was
absolutely.
It was a damn bloody war.
Yeah, he's a stiff, mean, cheating son of a bitch, and
oh, for sure. He took me to my limits and then some. But at the end of the day, I that was probably the best way that I could have come back from my injury was against someone like him, and he took me to my limits. And for someone who is, I begrudgingly say he is a complete and utter jerk. I'm saying that as Riley Shepard, who is trying to be PG. That's my PG way of saying it after our feud for like a year. He is someone who I honed myself against, and it was my very first match back, and I am entirely grateful and have a begrudging respect for Darius Carter.
Yeah, no, look, Darius Carter's, he's one of those guys he's fun to hate. I mean, but he's really good at what he does, and once he steps out of his car, he's in gimmick all the way to the point where he gets back in his car to leave, which is great because you don't really see that a lot these days, especially from heels. But he's good at what he does. He's very entertaining. He had a match with Saraya Knight last year when I brought her in, and she was already hurting. She wrestled earlier in the night, and she was hurting. But she battled through that match, and they beat the crap out of each other.
That doesn't surprise me.
if I would say check it out on the Warriors of Wrestling YouTube page. Yeah, they beat the shit out of each other, and it was pretty brutal. And I was worried for her because she came home with me that night, and I was just like, do you want me to like fill the bathtub up with ice cubes? I'm like, what do you want me to do? And she was like, no, I'll be all right. And a couple other profound obscenities in her British way.
Grin and bear it, right?
Yeah.
You wait, and that's exactly what it was after my match back. And I had a match the very next day, and I had no voice for my second match back. I wrote on a whiteboard because I couldn't talk, and that was just my voice. Like, I was bruised, battered, I was so stiff, and I felt so happy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's a way to even explain it. It probably sounds incredibly
I could totally
crazy.
no. I can totally relate. I playing ball. I let my weight get a control of my life, and I missed playing ball for about 4 seasons. When I finally got my weight under control and my physical health, I came back and played the first time and going on now 5 seasons. And I played a doubleheader, both games, went home, was in so much pain, woke up the next day, I could barely move, and I couldn't have been happier.
Exactly. You wake up and you're like, ow, ow. Oh,
Yep.
my God, I'm so happy.
Just throw some dirt on it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm one of those people who like bruises so easily, so you can guess for like the next couple of weeks. I was all sorts of purple matched my hair.
Yep. But I played the rest of that season injury free. Didn't miss a game unless it was a week that I couldn't be there. But yeah, and I literally retired from softball after that season because I just wanted to do it to prove to myself that one, I was able to.
You could.
Yeah, and two, that I was able to get it through a whole season, contribute, not embarrass myself, and and it was just, and I didn't want to be like that coach that coached the team, put himself in the lineup, and just hurt the team by being selfish. So I played for someone else, and they put their trust in me. So I didn't let them down, so yeah, I understand what you mean, and it was kind of like that hurt. Don't rub it. Just throw some dirt on it. It'll be fine. Just move on. Think about something else. Until something else hurts.
Well, in reality, when it comes to wrestling, something always hurts. So I was talking to my coach one time at training, my coach Damian Adams, and he asked how I was feeling. I'm like, well, do you want the rundown? Because this is normal. Like, this is just the way I live now, and it's fine. I have no problem training, wrestling, whatever. This is just when I wake up. I'm not 18 years old. I don't have a fresh young body that has no injuries. You just work with what you have and you keep going.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, but you're still young enough to recover, from your surgery and little dings here and little bangs there. So you're still young enough. You get into my territory. Those little back pains, they don't go away in 2 days. They go away in about like 2.5 months. So yeah, so it kind of sucks. But you know what? I tell people, I'm like, I earned that right to complain that hurt.
That's the same thing with my I got pictures taken, and someone had asked you if they wanted me to edit out my scars and the bruises. So my scars from my ACL surgery and my bruises from wrestling. I'm like, no, I earned these. This is a part of me. This is staying in the picture. This is what you see is what you get, and I've earned every single nick on my body, and it's staying there.
That's right. And Damian Adams, he's really good at what he does. He's a really good trainer. I had the pleasure of meeting him. He used to work with D2W up in Wharton, New Jersey. And I used to attend. I still do it from time to time. Attend a lot of their shows because I've worked with a lot of the guys that were on those shows from other various Jersey companies that they worked for. So I got to meet him his time when he was there, and he's gone on to train a lot of good talent that's gone on and done some good things on TV, and whether it's part time or even full time on television. So it's you're working with the right guy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I knew. And I knew coming back from my surgery, I started training with him about a month before my very first match because I knew that I needed someone in my corner who was going to understand where I was coming from but push me to my limits. And that's exactly what he does. And he teaches confidence. And that's what he likes to say all the time is anyone can learn the moves, but at the end of the day, he teaches confidence. And as a woman wrestler, finding a coach who believes in what you do can be a little hard sometimes. And I got very lucky in who I had in my past as a coach and who I have currently. And I was very lucky to come back and work with Damian before I started because I don't know if my mind would have been in the same state as it was my first match back, but I was way more confident than, coming back from a torn ACL. I didn't think about it. I just battled. And I part was probably me, but part was definitely because of Damian Adams and training with him for a month to make sure I was ready and confident in my ability and confident that my knee could do whatever the heck I put it through.
Right. And look, he's got the track record, so it's not like, he just talks the game and says a lot of, flashy things and makes a lot of promises. He has the track record, whether it was, Deanna Purrazzo or anybody else that he's trained. he's proved what he is saying works, that his method works.
Right.
So
proof is in the pudding, right?
Absolutely. Probably eating entirely too much pudding during this pandemic, but, what are you going to do?
I heard Jell-O is a good alternative. I don't like Jell-O, but that's a good alternative.
No. Jell-O, I don't know. Jell-O's so hit or miss, because first thing I think of when I start eating Jell-O is like, what am I, in a hospital? Then I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I used to like Jell-O as a kid.
Yeah, it's weird.
Go to the Chinese buffet. I used to eat green Jell-O or yellow Jell-O, and nobody eats that. Nobody eats green and yellow Jell-O. But
I agree. I mean, I don't like Jell-O at all, so it's a little weird to me that it's so wiggly, and I can just picture it going down, it's still wiggling in my belly. I don't like it.
Yeah, what always freaked me out was you get the nice warm clean plate when you went up to the buffet and you put the Jell-O on it, and by the time you got back to the table, it was like a puddle of green on your plate, and I'm like, what the hell happened to my Jell-O?
It's a puddle. Enjoy.
Yeah, it's a Jell-O puddle. You gotta eat it with a spoon. Yeah, and Jell-O is you never know what to eat it with, because if you stab it with a fork, sometimes it falls apart. But if you put it on a spoon, it rocks itself right off the damn spoon. So it's you wind up just picking it up with your fingers.
Personal problems with Jell-O.
Yeah, first world problems with Jell-O and staying classy at the Chinese buffet.
For sure.
All right. So I'm hoping going forward, we're currently, what is it, May 11th. New Jersey has got another 30 days of torture. So hopefully only 30 days. We'll see what our beloved governor does next. Pretty much whatever New York does, he does.
Right. Well, this will be my first birthday in quarantine coming up, and hopefully will be my last.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to drive by your house beeping the horn and banging pots out the windows.
Yes, a parade. Do it.
Yeah, somebody did that in front of my house, and my dogs were freaking out, and I was I ran to the window, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Then I realized what it was. Oh, yeah. One's passed out right next to me on a pillow, so she can't be bothered. But yeah, so going forward, we definitely, not just Damage 365 Promotions, not just us, but I know we have you booked. Hopefully, it happens in July. If not, whenever that gets rescheduled for Titan Championship Wrestling, we have you booked for that, and I know that we'll be pushing for you at Warriors of Wrestling because we need some good, talented female talent there. Because I know that the fan base kind of gets tired of seeing the same people over and over again. So why not bring in somebody flashy and colorful and good, You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
With sword and armor and all. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And then, I think you and I spoke briefly about it, but we definitely want to get you to a local convention where you can set up, no pun intended, set up fort at the table, and you can, meet and greet all the wrestling fans in New York, whether they're there for mainstream or indie, it doesn't matter. You get your name out there, people get to know who you are, and get you a little more exposure. It's worked with pretty much everybody we've brought in, from Deonna Purrazzo to Nyla Rose to Thunder Rosa to Holodead. You can name one after another that we've brought to local conventions, and they've gone on to do some cool things. I mean, we brought in Jordan Grace when she was 17 years old.
Oh my goodness, so young.
Yeah. Now look at her. She's an Impact Knockouts champion.
Right?
So,
Amazing. Doing amazing things, some of these women.
Yeah.
A lot of these women. I should not say some. A lot of these women are doing some amazing things now that there's some opportunity. They can just take it and run and kick in all of the doors. I love it. I love seeing it.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing. We just said, come to the table, just set up all your stuff, and just sell, shake whomever's hand you need to. Bring business cards. Hand business cards out to anybody and everybody possible. If you see another promoter there, give him your business card. Introduce yourself. Just like you would if it was a wrestling show at a BFW or whatever. You would always shake anybody who's there early before the doors open. Everybody would always, you shake everybody's hand. You introduce yourself. Same thing at conventions. You see somebody behind the table that looks like they're in charge, shake their hand. You see they got talent, shake their hand. Introduce yourself, because you never know what that little interaction might lead to in the future.
Are we going to be allowed to shake?
Well,
elbow bump.
Hopefully, yeah, or air fives, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, you're from Jersey. We could fist pump in New Jersey, and it's no contact.
Oh no, I will not be doing that.
I don't know, man. We can make.
You see me? Do I look like someone who fist pumps?
I don't either, but it might turn out to be the universal "what's up," Whew.
I mean, to each their own, but I am way too socially awkward to make a fist bump look any sort of cool.
I don't know. I don't think it looks cool when anybody does it. But...
Well, it's definitely not looking cool on me.
But you never know these days. I'm like, no handshakes, no elbows, no fist pump, no, fist pounds, no forearm smashes. Just do like a 2-pump fist pump, and they'll get the point. And then all the Jersey Shore people will be suing us for copyrights.
Oh, goodness. Well, now that you mentioned about setting up fort, I now want to do a pillow and blanket fort, though. I don't know if we just recently watched Community, and I now want to do just a massive pillow blanket fort. So that might happen at the con, now that you mentioned fort.
Well, you said you were going to be doing some vlogs. There you go. I just gave you some material.
There you go. Perfect.
Be like, this episode of Riley Shepard in her tent set up on Fort Riley. We will read a book together.
I don't have a track record with them, but it's fine. When I was young, I made one, and I read because that's what I do. And I brought a lamp under my pillow for it, and it burns a hole.
Oh.
In one of my favorite blankets. My mom was so mad.
Yeah, you can't do that. I've always, as a kid, the best way I've ever did a fort was with bungee cords. I use it across the top. You put the sheets over the top of it, and you tie the corner of the sheet in a knot in the bungee cord, and you attach it to something, so it spreads out the sheet.
Yours was super sturdy.
Yeah, it was super sturdy, and then you hang light sticks on the inside of the tent across the top, and then you get your lighting.
Oh, so pretty. So I'm going to contract you out for my pillow blanket fort at the con. Remind me not to bring lighting. You can handle the lighting part of it.
And everything can be purchased at the Dollar Tree.
Perfect.
Right down to the bed sheets, to the bungee cords, to the light sticks.
You're hired.
Oh, man. Can you imagine? That'd be hilarious. I'd have where you going? I got to go set up Riley Shepard's fort before the show.
You just walk in with, stacks of pillows and blankets that can't even see you over the stack.
Yeah.
Just a muffled voice.
Be like, tell me where I need to drop these.
Perfect.
Oh, man. But, like I said, we'll talk about it soon, about conventions, as soon as we get that opportunity to have that window of the conventions itself, because who knows when we're allowed to do it.
When we're released back into the wild.
Yeah, when we're allowed to live and go back on schedule and live like normal people. Even though I'm totally enjoying this, because I'm getting stuff done in the house and things fixed. I'm working on my garden this weekend if it ever stops freaking raining.
I know that was my plan this week too. We have a porch, and so my birthday is Saturday.
Oh.
So my birthday present to myself for the last 5 years, I make a little herb, not vegetables because they don't grow on my porch, herb and flower garden on my porch, and it makes me so happy. I got the green thumb from my mom. She's much better at it, but I'm trying. Yeah, mine are inside now under UV lights because it got really cold the other night, and this morning it hailed. I know, right? This weather is insane. That's what I was thinking of, possibly starting to buy some this weekend, and then it dropped to the 40s.
Yeah.
I don't need help killing my flowers. I'm already trying.
Well, if you ever want a quick way of keeping them inside, the best thing to do is, like, if you buy them already grown, like just started already grown, the best thing you can do is I usually put like a regular tray, like any kind of food tray. I slide them underneath, put all the little pots on that, keep them watered. You buy a cheap little clip-on lamp from Dollar Tree or anywhere else, and then you go to either Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, and you just buy a UV bulb, and you clamp it on to whatever, and you just have the light shine on it for about 8 hours a day, and that'll keep your plants nice, fresh, and alive until you're able to safely get them outside.
Oh, that's such a good idea. Hopefully we won't have to use that idea this week, but I will keep that one in mind for sure.
Yeah, mine are downstairs inside the house right now, so I'm hoping to get outside because I have to unearth the area where they're going because I planted them in buckets last year because the weather was very wet, so I didn't want to start digging into the mud. So of course all the grass and the weeds and everything grew back in from last year, so now I have to flip everything over again. So yeah, at least I need 1 to 2 days of, not hailing or torrential rain or 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Right, yeah.
So,
well, hopefully. May is supposed to be sunnier than April. It's not turning out that way, but hopefully it will. For my birthday, it'll be my birthday wish.
I hope so.
You still need some, but for the flowers.
So your birthday is May 16th, correct?
May 16th, yeah.
All right. I'm going to hold you to that, so it better be nice outside today.
Yes, well, I'm making a wish. I'm not all powerful, so hopefully my wishes get there.
I don't know. Just sprinkle some of your
very, very hard for you.
Sprinkle some of your like whatever fairy dust, Zelda dust, whatever you got. Sprinkle that shit everywhere.
Glitter.
Just throw that
crap ton of glitter.
Put it in one of those air cannons and stick it up like your fireplace so it just explodes out this chimney of your home.
Perfect.
Be like, what the hell's going on? Your neighbors will hate you, but as long as it works.
It's fine.
But I do appreciate you taking the time to give us a call and telling us what Riley Shepard has been doing to keep herself busy and your rehab and all that fun stuff. And hopefully only great things going forward in the future for your wrestling career and your physical life whatsoever, your knee and everything else. So, we'll be in touch, like I said, about bookings and definitely about conventions going forward, hopefully in 2020, not 2021. And that's really it. I mean, just tell everybody where they can find Riley Shepard on social media.
So all social media for me is the Riley Shepard, really easy, THE Riley Shepard, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a website, RileyShepard.com, where I post all of my pictures, my matches, my upcoming events when they start. And some of my merch will hopefully be going up there too. And then I have T-shirts through What a Maneuver, which if you Google What a Maneuver Riley Shepard, you'll get mine. And then you can always DM me. I still have pictures and pins and foam purple swords that are awesome. So yeah.
And you had stickers too, didn't you?
I did not. No, don't put that out yet.
We need to get that. We need to get those.
I will be. That's the next step. Right now, we have to go through what we have since there's no shows right now.
Yeah.
But hopefully, once we're back, that is next on the agenda for sure is to get stickers.
Yeah, and of course, hopefully your vlogs will be on there soon on your website. Yeah. And also, as everybody knows, when you work shows with Damage 365 Promotions, you will be getting collectible trading cards soon too. So everybody loves that. We have them made, and then we hand you over to the person who creates them, and after we're done with you, you get them, and you can do whatever you want after that.
Yay! Trading cards for everyone.
Yes, they're fun. They're fun things. We've had a lot of success with them, not only just selling them wise, but just the popularity in them. People like them signed, and just legit ones, has your, nice picture in the front, a logo, and very colorful, fronts to them. In the back is usually an action shot, has some bio information about you. So they're fun, and everybody seems to like them. Every time we say we're going to bring in somebody, like, oh, you're going to make cards? I'm like, dude, if they don't have cards online available, then yes, we're making cards. So, and I actually do have a Riley Shepard card.
Yep, I have one trading card so far, so I'm excited for any other trading cards.
And it's funny because I asked you, I was like, oh, at the Titan show, can you sign it for me? Oh, yeah, no problem, I'll do it. Pandemic.
Yeah. One of these days I will sign the card for you, and hold me to it, because I'm sometimes a little forgetful, but for sure I will sign your card, no problem.
Definitely I'm gonna hold you to it. Don't worry. I don't forget about stuff like that. So, because that's my personal collection. It goes up on the wall with all the others, so it's my personal collection. So
I'm on the wall. You get to the wall, yes.
I'm on the wall. That's it. Career over. I'm on a wall.
Perfect, right?
Absolutely. But definitely, just continue to stay safe, stay healthy, keep getting stronger, and we'll definitely see you soon.
Yeah, you too. Stay safe and healthy, and I'm crossing all my fingers and toes that we'll get to see our wrestling family soon.
Absolutely. All right, we'll talk to you soon, Riley. Have a great one.
You too.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. That was Riley Shepard, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely check her out on all her social media outlets. She's definitely a great person to meet if you're at a wrestling show, and to watch. She's just somebody you need to watch, and somebody you need to watch going forward. She's working with Damian Adams. He's one of the best in the business when it comes to this. He's worked with a bunch of girls and gotten them very far in their careers, so I don't see how Riley will not be following in those footsteps. So I definitely see big things in her future. So we'd like to thank her for coming on the show. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in, and as always, we ask that you help control the nitwit population and have your friends spayed or neutered. We will see you next week on another interview here from the Indy Super Show, brought to you by the Damage 365 Radio Network.
I have voices in my head.